I don't think it's fair to say that I'm against welfare reform. We are, it would be true to say, against the current proposals. It's important to understand that this legislation is a Northern Ireland executive bill that may reference the Westminster provisions, but essentially it's a Northern Ireland executive bill. Unlike Scotland and Wales, Northern Ireland does enjoy the devolution of the social security functions, and there's not much point in having it devolved unless you're going to use those devolved powers to the good and in the interests of the people who elect you. I've always tried to go beyond demographic groupings and see people, and I know the impact that some of these proposals will have on a very wide range of people, and unfortunately it will impact on my constituency, I believe, more disadvantageously than elsewhere. For example, East Belfast has 4 of the wealthiest and 4 of the poorest wards in Northern Ireland, separated in some cases by the width of a road. We have 40.3% of the working age population in receipt of at least one benefit. We have high incidence of mental illness, and the legislation as proposed, in my view, will seriously disadvantage entire tracts of Northern Ireland society. I didn't become involved in politics to walk in to the poorest, most disadvantaged homes in my constituency or anywhere else and lift the bread off their table, and that's essentially what these current proposals in their current form will do. My role in this as a member of the DSD committee has been to examine the proposals brought forward by the Minister. He told us on several occasions that if this bill wasn't introduced immediately, the sky was going to fall down, and yet he himself has delayed it now for very many months. We will reserve judgment until we see the bill in its final form. We as a party have amended this bill to a greater extent, or proposed amendments to this bill to a greater extent than any other party. The truth is, welfare benefit income is spent in the local community on local goods and services, on electricity, on gas, on food, on groceries, on shopping. And if you take 600 to 700 million pounds out of the Northern Ireland economy, the places where that money is spent are going to be almost as disadvantaged as people who will no longer have it to spend. And there are great mysteries around this. I remember well the Deputy Minister Arlene Foster standing up and announcing that this is about making work pay. On the day she did so, there were almost 70,000 people in receipt of job seekers allowance and 4,200 available jobs. There is a big job to do to realign this economy, but those who are being asked to pay the biggest price have the least in their pockets to pay it. It will give rise to a raft of difficulties, and I have no doubt it will drive many, particularly the sick and the disabled and the mentally ill, beyond the point of endurance.